Become your own banker. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, where should I keep my working capital for my business? Now get ready. You're going to be blown away where you can have money that is extremely liquid, earning great rates of return, and it's tax-free, and how you can leverage and use it as working capital in your business. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist for more than 4.5 decades. I help people optimize their financial assets and minimize unnecessary taxes. But I also have many mastermind groups that I facilitate for entrepreneurs and business owners. When I teach this concept of how to manage working capital for their business, how to become their own banker, they are blown away. So as I proceed here, you are going to learn that whenever you have money that is earmarked for working capital to use in your business to buy inventory or seize opportunities or whatever, because if you're a business owner, you know that many times you have to put a lot of wood in the fire, so to speak, before you finally get some BTUs of heat back. And I have learned this for 4.5 decades. I've had to shell out a lot of money waiting, sometimes 6 months, 9 months, a year to start getting a return back on that. And so as I began to receive it back, I knew where to put that capital. And so you want to make sure your working capital passes what I call the LASER test. LASER is an acronym that I use that stands for Liquid Assets Safely Earning Returns. So the first letter of each of those words spells laser. And I'm going to show you where I put my working capital, where it's liquid. I can access it with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call. It's safe. I don't lose the money due to market volatility or the institution where it's at. I earn predictable rates of return on it while I'm using it and also while it is sitting there waiting for me to tap into it. It's also totally tax-free. And so I like to put my money in vehicles that pass what is called the LASER test. You're going to see how powerful this is and how you can be making tons of money on your money while you're using it in your business simultaneously. So in order of importance, first is liquidity. What comes after liquidity? Safety. Now, when we talk about safety, it's not only safety of the institution, but also safety of your principal. So whenever I put money aside, like working capital for a business, I want it to pass the safety test on a scale of 1 to 10, around an 8 or a 9 or even a 10 if I can. I do not like losing my money. So I want to use institutions that are rated AA and AAA by various rating agencies like Fitch or Standard & Poor's and so forth. But more important than that is safety of principal. See, I want to set aside whether it's $10,000 or $100,000 or $1 million or $10 million in my business working capital account. And I want to participate when the economy is doing well, when the market is up. But I do not want to lose due to market volatility when we have these dips or crashes in the market. And so this is why I use a strategy called indexing in order to protect my principal. When you use indexing, you're going to learn that when the market goes up, you get to participate in the upside. But when the market goes down, you do not lose because your money is not invested or at risk in the market. Your returns are linked to the market, and this is critical to have safety of principal with your working capital for your business. And you're going to see from some stories I'll share with you that when the economy is going down, you need access to money during recession sometimes just to make ends meet. The last thing you want is to think that you had $1 million nest egg or a cushion and it's only worth $600,000 because the market's down. So you want to protect your principal, safety of principal, not lose due to the market volatility. And so that's number 2. So I've owned many businesses in my life, and I've helped with my spouse create several business ventures. And whenever we do that, we keep our working capital in a vehicle, which I call the Laser Fund. And if you are wondering what is that, at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a link where you can claim your free copy of my most recent best-selling book called The Laser Fund, okay? Now, the key elements of a prudent investment, especially money that you earmark for working capital for a business, you want to have liquidity and safety, but next is rate of return. But it's third down the list. So you will learn, if you read and study my book, that you want to earn a rate of return that is at least equal to the rate of inflation, but hopefully greater. Because if your working capital account is in some bank or credit union paying you a measly 1%, it's like you're rowing upstream at the rate of 1 mile an hour and the current of inflation is coming down at 3 or 4. You're going backwards, okay? That's not smart. You want to have your money in a vehicle that is earning predictably a rate of return that is greater than inflation. Now, to be honest with you, you're going to learn by studying this book that I've always earned a rate of return at least 5.5% greater than the inflation rate at the time. If inflation was at 5, I was earning more than 10. If it was 10, I was earning more than 15. If it's 15, I was earning more than 20. People go, how do you do that? It's actually pretty simple. It's surprising how many financial advisors don't know how to do this. I simply link my returns to the things that inflate. I don't like inflation any more than you do, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. Because my money is linked to the things that are going up in price. And so it helps me. It doesn't hinder me. And so when you earn a rate of return, generally speaking, if inflation is 3, 4, 5%, you've got to be earning 7 to 10%. And I've been earning 7 to 10% predictably for more than 45 years on my Laser Fund. You're going to see how and why, but that's the third key element of a prudent investment for a working capital account or any savings account for that matter. Now, working capital for business, I want to make sure it passes that laser test. And so not only do I want liquidity and safety, but I want to earn predictable rates of return, and I want them to be tax-free. So when we talk about this, money that I earmark for business, to be able to have at my fingertips with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call, and to have safety of principal. That's why I use the Laser Fund and indexing. I'm able to participate with good rates of return where I make money when the market goes up and not lose when it goes down. But hello, the reason why I use the Laser Fund is because it's totally tax-free. It has been grandfathered in the Internal Revenue Code for over a century under Section 72E, 7702, and 101A. Those three sections say that money inside of a max-funded insurance contract will accumulate totally tax-free. When I access money the smart way, it's totally tax-free. And when I ultimately die, it blossoms, it increases in value and transfers income tax-free. Hello? That is the best place I could have my serious cash, not only for retirement, college funding for my kids, but for working capital for business. And I'm going to share with you an actual story of one of our clients who uses his portfolio of laser funds to buy and sell huge real estate properties, apartment complexes. So I'd like to end this episode by sharing a true story of one of my clients, a very good friend, in fact. Most of my clients become good friends, of how he has kept his working capital for his business very liquid, safe, earning predictable rates of return in my favorite vehicle called the Laser Fund. And I'll show you how you can claim your free copy of this book here in just a moment. So what he does is he buys distressed properties. These are usually multi-unit residential apartment complexes. And he goes out and he finds properties that need to be fixed up but the current owner doesn't have the capital or the desire to invest $1 million or whatever in fixing up the property. And he doesn't want to be a landlord. He likes to sort of buy it, fix it up, and flip it, so to speak. But these are large apartment complexes. And some of them are worth millions of dollars. So where does he keep his working capital to do this? In the Laser Fund, a maximum funded insurance contract where the money is extremely liquid, safe, earning predictable rates of return until he uses it. But when he goes to access money, he borrows money out of his Laser Fund instead of withdrawing it. So let me use an example. If he finds a piece of real estate and he needs to get $1 million out of his Laser Fund to tie up the property with an earnest money, okay, he may call me and say, Doug, hey, I need $1 million out of my Laser Fund. Will you fax or email me that one-page form? Now, I know exactly what he's talking about. He does this many, many times. So I send him the one-page form, and he puts his name at the top, and he puts his policy number, because it's an insurance contract, and this is where he has $1 million or more that's liquid and safe. And he answers the question on the form, would you like to withdraw $1 million out of your insurance policy? Or would you like to borrow $1 million? Guess which one he checks? Borrow. Why? If he withdraws his million, if it's in there earning 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, and some years, like 2017, he was earning 16% and even 25% on another Laser Fund, he would lose that opportunity to make 16 or 25%. Why would he do that? Because the insurance company will loan him $1 million at 5%. Now, he could actually borrow the money at 2.5%, and they'll continue to credit 2.5%. That's called a zero-wash loan. That's not what I would recommend. He borrows money at a little higher rate at 5%, and they will continue to credit him on the million that he left there. He simply used it as collateral, and they keep crediting him whatever the indexed rate is. So in 2017, he borrowed $1 million. They charged him 5% that year. What's 5% on $1 million? 50 grand. He didn't have to write out a check. It's automatically deducted from the interest he earned that year. How much did he earn? In one, 16%. In another, 25%. That's $250,000 he earned, tax-free. So, if you understand what I just said, he borrowed $1 million. They charged him $50,000. They credited him $250,000. $250,000 minus 50, he netted $200,000 or 20% tax-free on his money, while at the same time he used that million in his business to tie up an apartment complex, fix it up and turn it over and make 100% there too. Hello? This is how you use a Laser Fund as working capital for business, because if you understand how money works, you can continue to earn interest on your money while you're using it in your business. Are you getting it? This is called safe, positive leverage. So folks, if you want to learn more about how to do this and how the Laser Fund works, I would recommend you study this book. I don't want you missing out. This is actually 2 books in one. This side is for the left brain thinkers. It contains about 200 pages of charts and graphs and explanations, 14 chapters. If you learn more by stories, you flip it over and you read this book. This has 12 chapters, 100 pages with 62 actual client stories like the one I just shared with you. If you like to use your whole brain, your right brain and left brain, read both books. But here's how you can claim your free copy. I'll pay for the book. You simply go to laserfund.com and contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. And get your free copy and begin to learn. There's options in there to listen and learn, watch and learn. Subscribe to this channel. I post an in-depth answer to a specific financial question at least 5 days every single week. And I want you to learn more, because you can't be aware of something you're not aware of.